Did you know your body can make you hundreds of thousands of dollars if you have the right programming? Now, if that sounds interesting to you, stay tuned because in this episode, I'm going to show you exactly how your body can be considered a business asset. How your body can give you the greatest edge in business so you can generate more money, close more deals, and create the wealth you desire. I want to start by sharing a study in 2024 by the Journal of Business Venturing that found that entrepreneurs dealing with physical health issues are significantly more likely to lose their business than those who are in good physical shape. Now, what that says to me is that the entrepreneurs who are unable to see their vision through to get the results that they want, it's not always bad strategy and marketing, right? But what that says to me is that it's because their bodies gave out before they had a chance to see the vision through. They actually may have had a good marketing strategy. They actually may have had a good idea, good sales. But they had to sell the business because they no longer could keep up with the business. Really sit and think about that for a second. You have to sell your business because you can't keep up with where the business is going. The business may actually be growing. It may not actually be suffering. But because you can't keep up, now you have to sell your business. Because your body was like, nah, I'm done. That's it. That's all I got in me. I gave you 10 years, 15, 20 years. That's all I have. Really think about that. The biggest thing that poses the thing that poses the biggest threat to your business, your income, your leadership, it isn't the competition. It's not the economy. It's you. It's the one asset that you have control over, your body and your physical health. Think about bodybuilders. I know I say this a lot, but your body is your business. But in bodybuilding, their body literally is their business. And many bodybuilders have aspirations to win on the biggest stage, Mr. Olympia, maybe start a clothing line, supplement line, make a transition from the stage into business. But the sad truth and sad reality is, at the highest level, in order to compete and win, you have to be on something. Steroids, that is. So that means so many of them are potentially destroying their most valuable asset to achieve their dreams in life. Now, this is no shade, because everybody gets to choose the life they want to live. And many of them have done something that many people will never do. They've achieved the goal that they desired, and most people don't even attempt to go after their goal. So to them, respect. And actually, I'm actually a fan of the bodybuilding industry. Right? I grew up in it. Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler, Frank Zane, Chris Jones, C-Bum, right? Brandon Hendrickson. I think that's his last name. All right. So I grew up in the bodybuilding area and still watch the bodybuilding industry today. And I also understand that people will argue that you should just take away the drugs, but to make the industry more healthy, because people drop dead just like that. But then again, you're also kind of killing the bodybuilding industry, because no one goes to a bodybuilding show to see somebody that you're just going to see at work or a regular person in the gym. You go to a bodybuilding show to see something you've never seen before. You go to a bodybuilding show to see someone who is just massive, freakishly big. That's why you go to a bodybuilding show. So I get the whole concept of bodybuilding. Now, if you look at the business world, many entrepreneurs do the exact same thing, just on the opposite end. They don't work out. They sacrifice sleep, poor nutrition to achieve their goals and dreams. When in reality, their body is the greatest asset to get them to their goals and is likely to get them to their goal faster. But guess what? We're going to make sure we change that for you today. Now, before we get into how to actually turn your body into a business asset, we have to make sure we understand, how is the body considered a business asset? Because honestly, most entrepreneurs don't see it that way. Most entrepreneurs see their body as a personal problem, right? It's just something I'll deal with that later. Right now, I need to get this money, right? After they get the money, after they grow the business, after they achieve all the external things in life that they want, then they want to start taking care of their body. But guess what? The reality is your body is not separate from your business. It is your business. Think about it this way. As you go through the day, right, do you get more energy or do you get more fatigued? You get more fatigued. As you get more fatigued, does the quality of your decisions, do they get better or do they get worse? They get worse every single time. Now imagine if you started every day feeling like you were at the end of the day of a long days of work. Imagine if you woke up every single day feeling like you're at the end of a long days of work. Tired, foggy, drained, can't think clearly. Think about that. What do you think will happen over time after that compounding effect of waking up like that, exhausted? Making decisions from that depleted state of mind. Showing up every day like, another Monday. Another Wednesday. Thank God it's Friday. Like, number one, what does that even mean anyway? Thank God it's Friday. Every day is a good day. And if not, that means you're focused on the wrong thing. Friday is no different than Monday. Monday's no different than Saturday. Saturday's no different than Sunday. Sunday's no different than Tuesday. Every day is a good day. And if not, you are focused on the wrong thing. But if you're operating from that place and that state and that mindset, right? And if you feel that fatigue, that's not just a health problem. That is a business problem. But for a lot of entrepreneurs, that's just Tuesday. All right? It's not my opinion. It's the way life works. A weak body will always produce weak results. Look, there are many people who live their lives in corporate or W-2 jobs that way. But the difference is in a W-2 job, you can show up physically and check out mentally. You can get 50% on Monday, 70% on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. A strong 20% on Friday. Still get a check and be told, great job for showing up this week. You can do that in corporate, right? I remember when I worked this job, right? And I knew this guy who literally did not work Monday and Friday. Literally never worked on Monday or Friday. And you may think like, how is that possible? How does someone show up to work and not work on a Monday and Friday, but still get paid? Well, the way the job was set up, right? You had a certain amount of time to finish a project. All right. So let's say they gave you 40 hours to finish the project. So you had to be done the project by the end of the week. So within that project, they would give you some leadway because they wouldn't build you all the way up to the 40 hours, like leave no room for error. So they would leave maybe a couple days for error. And once he realized that, he was like, oh, it's game on. They may left me some room for error, but I'm not leaving myself room for error. I'm only going to work on this Tuesday through Thursday. Tuesday through Thursday. And then if I mess up, I'll just take the hit. But I'd rather have my Mondays and Fridays off, right? So he would sit there and literally watch movies. He would act like he's working, but he really wasn't working. That's how he did it. Every single week, week after week, still got paid, still got told, great job for showing up. Left himself with no room for error. Tuesday through Thursday, got the job done. Now, you can't do that when you're running your own business. That ain't going to fly. Well, you can't ride that corporate chain and that corporate wave because you are the business, you are the brand, you are the product, you are the standard, right? And what sets that standard is your body because your body dictates the capacity in which you show up for your business. So when I say your body is a business asset, I'm not just talking about having six-pack abs, Instagram photos, looking like a bodybuilder. I'm talking about building a body strong enough to carry the capacity to build a 6-figure, 7-figure, 8-figure, 9-figure business. Building your capacity to perform day in and day out without your body breaking down on you. That is what I am talking about. Because the moment your body breaks down, the mind is second to go. And guess what's in a strong third? Your business. It's like a domino effect, right? Let's actually break down, like, how does this happen? All right. Everything starts with energy, right? Because all energy is here. The law of energy says that energy is not created nor destroyed. It's just transferred from one to another, right? We receive energy from people. We receive energy from things. We receive energy from watching social media. We give off energy. So everything is energy, right? Now, when you are showing up and you don't have the energy, I'm not just talking about the feeling of depleted energy where you just take an energy shot, right? Grab an energy drink and you feel good for a couple hours. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the energy of your identity, right? Because it affects your energy of identity by being out of shape. When you're not in shape, it affects the energy of your identity. That means how you see yourself, how you carry yourself, how you walk into a room, right? Being out of shape just doesn't affect how you feel. It affects who you believe you are. And when that energy is off, oh boy, you're in trouble. Because it throws off everything. It throws off your focus, the quality of your decisions, your communication, your confidence, your consistency, which guess what? All affects your pockets. And then you end up walking around like that Timberland song. I ain't got no money. I ain't got no car to take you on a date. It probably won't be that bad, but it will affect your pockets, right? So let's talk about now, how do you actually turn your body into a business asset? I want to start where most people finish: sleep. A strong body starts with a great night sleep, right? It's that simple. Now, I'm not talking about just getting 6 to 8 hours of sleep, right? But I'm talking about actually being intentional and having a process for how you go to sleep. Because where there is no intention, there is no ascension. You can't go up if you're not intentional, right? You can't wake up with a strong body performing at a high level if you aren't intentional about becoming that type of person, right? And that all starts with getting a great night's sleep. So the first thing, how do you get a great night's sleep? Starts with you have to stop eating by 6 p.m. This is not about how you look. This is not about your weight. This is not about your physique. Late night eating disrupts your body's natural sleep cycle. Studies have proven it. Research has proven it. If you eat within 3 hours of bedtime, it directly reduces the quality of your deep sleep. So by eating at 6 p.m., by eating after 6 p.m., you are literally robbing yourself of being a high performer the next day. You robbing yourself. Those cookies that you just grabbed, I only grabbed one. Robbing yourself of being a high performer. That chip, those couple chips that you grabbed at night, robbing yourself of being a high performer the next day. Because you are literally taking away your ability to enter into deep sleep for longer. I remember about 8 years ago, maybe 9, I worked 2 jobs. 40 hours a week plus overtime on one job. 20 hours a week on the other job, right? I did that for 5 days a week. And then I worked the overtime on a Saturday, so that's 6 days a week, right? So I was basically working 6 days a week every single day. And I needed to be at work by 6 a.m. to my first job. Got off about 3, right? From 3:30 to 4:30, I worked out. And then I worked from 5 to 10 or 9 or whenever we got done, right? Because it was a warehouse job. So typically we would get done around like 10:30. All right, and that was my life for a whole year. Now, how long do you think it took for that type of schedule to catch up with me? It didn't take long at all, right? I remember one night I got off from work. I was so tired. As soon as I parked the car, I was knocked out, literally. Like just done. Then I woke up at like 2 a.m. Didn't know where I was. Got out the car, went inside, went to sleep. I was like, okay, cool. I got a couple hours. I'm going to get a couple more hours of sleep. Then I'm going to go to work. Overslept. All right, didn't wake up till maybe about 8 or 9 o'clock. Knocked out, tired. Now, what do you think happened to my performance because I wasn't getting enough sleep? As expected, it tanked. Right? Sleep is one of the most important things that we can do for ourselves to perform at our best. How else can we improve our sleep? We can also improve our sleep by cutting our caffeine. Right? Cutting your caffeine by around 2 or 3 o'clock. I know. We're entrepreneurs. Right? Coffee can sometimes be your best friend. Caffeine can sometimes be your best friend. It's my best friend sometimes. I actually got a cup of coffee right here. Right? But studies have proven that if you drink caffeine 6 hours before bed, it's going to reduce your overall sleep by an hour. Or it can reduce your overall sleep by an hour. So for me, 2 p.m. is the cutoff time for caffeine. Right? Because I know that's going to help me to get to sleep at night so I can perform how I need to perform the next day. I drink about 2 cups of coffee a day. Right? I have one in the morning and I have one midday. That's it. I still get my gallon of water, so I make sure I'm staying hydrated. But 2 cups a day. It works for me, but as long as I cut my caffeine off by 2 p.m., I have no trouble falling asleep. I'll ask my wife sometimes, babe, how long did it take me to fall asleep? She'll say, you were knocked out. Like maybe 5 minutes. Right? Sometimes she'll be sitting there talking to me, and before she know it, I'm, boom, knocked out. And part of the reason that is that I'm able to just fall asleep almost at will is because I'm not consuming caffeine after 2 p.m. Right? How else can we improve our sleep? This is something kind of out of the ordinary, something a little different, but it works. Right? Every night I always make sure I journal my wins from the day. Now, I got this concept from Ben Hardy in 10X is easier than 2X. He said every single night he would jot down his wins. Right? He would write about 3 wins a day. Just any type of wins from the day. It doesn't matter what it is. Right? So for me, what I did is I put my own spin on it. I write down my wins, but wins is also an acronym. Right? It stands for W. What work did I execute that day that moved me closer to the goals that I want? Right? I. What integrity did I keep that day? So what thing did I say that I want to get done? Or what type of person did I say I want to be that day? And was I that person? N is a non-negotiable, right? Your non-negotiable honored. So what non-negotiables do I have day in and day out that I just absolutely must do, right? Or the things I must say no to. What are the non-negotiables in your life? And S stands for a self-discipline moment. What was something that I didn't feel like doing that I actually did? It's that simple, right? And this has been like a game changer for me. And you can make it as simple or as in-depth as you want, right? Now, after you write down your wins, you want to write down your future desired life. Now, before we get into that, I'll say writing down your wins also helps you throughout the day because now you're constantly looking and thinking about what you're going to be writing down later in the day because you know you're going to write your wins and you know exactly what your wins are. And you don't want to get to the end of the day and not have any wins to write. Right? So it helps your subconscious mind to be looking for those wins. So then when you lay down, it just makes it a lot easier. So now you aren't focused on all the negative things of the day. You're actually focused on the things that are going well throughout the day. Right? It's just like a subtle little constant reminder. Right? But after you write down your wins, the last thing that I write is my future desired life. That means, what are you building? Who are you becoming? What type of life do you want? What do you want your future to look like? And this can be anything. It can range from how much money you want, how much peace you want, the type of family you want, anything. Whatever the future life that you want, write it down. And the reason this works is because sometimes the day can just beat us down. So much so that when we lay down, all we can think about is the problems from today and the things that we're going to have to fix tomorrow, the things that we're going to have to work on tomorrow, the things that we didn't get done that we got to do, right? So it causes us to fall asleep in a state of stress when we're constantly thinking about our problems. Writing down your wins forces you at the end of the night to end your night on a positive note, right? Also, this is important too. To make sure this is the last thing that you look at before you actually close your eyes. Make this the last thing that you look at before you go to sleep. Why? Because you want your subconscious mind working on the vision of the future life that you want, not just the problems that you got to take care of tomorrow, right? You want to put yourself in the best possible state as possible before you go to sleep. And I'm telling you, it may sound simple, but it works. I've probably been doing this now I haven't fully reached a year yet, but I'm pretty close. I think I'm around 9-10 months straight, right? So it works. Last, you want to make sure you just commit to sleep. Sounds simple, but it works. Commit to sleep. Sometimes we'll go and we'll do all the things, and then as soon as we lay down our head, we'll start thinking about the problems. But you have to train yourself to commit to sleep, right? There are so many times, right, in the past that I would lay down and just stare at the ceiling, unable to fall asleep. I remember this one time. I just moved to Texas, right? So this is probably, 11, 12 years ago. And I didn't know how I was going to pay my bills that month, right? And I was just laying there just staring at the ceiling. Didn't fall asleep. I sat there literally probably up until like midnight, maybe after 1. Now for me, that's late because I'm usually in bed like 8:30, 9 o'clock, right? But I'm also up early, right? I'm also up 4:30, 5 o'clock, sometimes earlier than that. But I sat there just laying there, just think about, man. And I just could not go to sleep. I grabbed my phone, right? Probably was on social media a little bit, which probably didn't help. But you know what also didn't help? Not going to sleep. Because staying up wasn't going to pay my bills, right? Something that I've learned is you have to train yourself that when it's time to go to sleep, it's time to go to sleep. You have to train your body to say, hey, I know we didn't get all this stuff done. I know all of this happened, or I know we got this going on, but it's time to go to sleep. That's it. And if the world ended tomorrow, guess what? It wouldn't matter anyway. It wouldn't. But a way that I train myself to go to sleep when I need to go to sleep is I repeat to myself, commit to sleep. Commit to sleep. Commit to sleep. And it sounds simple, but it works. I'm asleep in like 5 minutes. It takes me literally no time to fall asleep. It just doesn't. Right? And it always haven't been that way. That's how I know it works. And it also helps if you can go to bed around the same time and wake up around the same time. Because what that does is it puts your body into rhythm for the morning. It's that simple. That's the first one, sleep. Next, how else do we turn our body into a business asset? Exercise. I'm going to be straight up with you. Like, if you're not exercising consistently as a business owner, you are doing yourself, the business, and everyone else around you a disservice. Because you are not showing up 100%, right? You don't have as much energy as you would have if you were exercising. You don't have as much self-confidence as you would have if you were exercising. You don't have as much strength as you would have if you were exercising. So exercise is a must to show up in your business and give your business the best possible chance of success. All right, here's a simple protocol that I like to follow. It's very, very simple. Very simple. Work out in the morning. Make sure your workouts include strength training. Do it for a minimum of 30 minutes, 5 days a week. That's it. Morning workouts, strength training, minimum 30 minutes, minimum 5 days a week. Now, that's not the ceiling. That is the floor, the bare minimum. That's it. That's as simple as you need to make it. And the reason I recommend working out in the morning and just working out, period, is not for the physical benefits, but it's about what it does to your identity. When you wake up and the first thing that you do is something hard, something challenging, something that requires discipline, effort, commitment, you are sending a message to yourself before the world gets to send a message to you. You are telling yourself who you want yourself to be, and not just who you want yourself to be. You're not just telling yourself that, but you're actually proving to yourself who you are before the world can say that you are this or you are that. You are telling yourself, I do things that are challenging and I overcome them. You are telling yourself, I have a standard. I keep my word to myself. And that identity and that belief, that is something that you carry with you into every room, right? You carry it with you for the rest of the day. Throughout the day. Notice I didn't say you carry it with you throughout the week. Notice I didn't say you carry it with you throughout the month, throughout the year. You carry it with you throughout the day. That means every single day you got to show up. Every single day you got to prove to yourself who you say you are. Right? Before you build the business, you have to build the builder of the business. Before you build the business, you have to build the builder of the business. You have to give yourself the best possible chance to show up and succeed that day. Not the week, that day. Right? So you must exercise if you're a business owner. Very last thing on how you can turn your body into a business asset is food. What you eat. The food that you put in your body is literally the fuel that your business runs on. Like if you want a sloppy business, keep eating the sloppy joes. Right? Because that's what you're going to get. Now, if you don't, you have to fuel your body in a way that you want your business to perform. How do you do that? How do you fuel your body in a way that gives you high performance in your business? It's simple. Meat, eggs, fruit, fish, veggies, potatoes. I'll say it again. Meat, eggs, fish, fruit, veggies, and potatoes. 5 days a week, minimum. This should be your life. You don't need to overcomplicate it. You don't need to meal plan 17 different things, 20 different meals. All you need to do is be consistent with the basics 5 days a week minimum. That's it. And every meal should be structured around protein first, not carbs, because people, they love their carbs. Every meal should be structured around protein first. So before you even think about putting a carb on your plate, you need to be asking yourself, what's going to be my protein? What is going to be my protein? And the protein should be a minimum of 20 grams, right? Not none of that 7 gram stuff, 9 grams, 10, 15, 20 grams minimum needs to be your protein on your plate. Again, that's not the ceiling. That's the floor. And if you follow this, yes, you will look good, get results. But this isn't just about how you look. It's about what the looks represent, right? It's about the person who will show up in their business, lead effectively, be confident, speak with energy and conviction. That's what it's about. You have to think about this like you're redefining what normal is. Because most entrepreneurs, they have normalized being tired. They have normalized being unclear. They have normalized being indecisive. They have normalized being overweight, being out of shape. They have normalized just drifting through life, aiming for just good enough. They've normalized that. If you want wealth in your family, if you want wealth in your faith, if you want wealth in your finances, if you want wealth in your business and your life, then guess what you got to do? You got to look like it. You got to think like it, show up like it, eat like it, sleep like it, lift like it. You got to speak like it. You have to become it. You want wealth? You have to brand yourself as wealth in every single thing that you do. Stop letting the mediocrity of society dictate the standards that you live at. You're meant for more. You're meant to do more. You're meant to accomplish more. You're meant to serve more people. You're meant to become more. So you have to start living like it. You have to start showing up like it. You have to start believing it. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Wealth Brand. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you share this with somebody you feel would benefit from this, because it does help the channel. It does help the podcast. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And I will catch y'all in the next one.